ascend, or any being to ascend, ourselves to ascend, for example, it's important for us to find center. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and that's just being sensible about it. It's not a major revelation. And so if Mother Earth is going to ascend and become a being of light, then she needs to find center. And this is where the scientific side comes into play, because we're about to experience a pole shift. And on the 21st of December 2012 is when Mother Earth really starts to straighten up on her axis. She needs to find center. So the wobble will come to an end, because the wobble was one of the aspects of creating a underlying vibrational pattern, a field that we can, an environment that we can come and incarnate in to have the experiences of duality that we're having. It's one of the mechanics that set up this whole environment of duality that we're experiencing here. One of the variables.
And do you think that this, 23.5 or so, axis shift or tilt that we have, was this, some people have speculated that was because of catastrophe or what have you, or other reasons, but this is a natural, this was meant to happen in that sense, right? There was a point to
that. From higher levels, everything that occurs is planned. Not everything is by design. There is no such thing as an accident. Okay, everything is by design. Everything you've experienced in your life is by your own design, by a higher aspect of your being. So there's no accidents here, because the moment you start entertaining the idea of an accident, you're giving your power away to something. You're blaming something outside of you, and that's just that's not really what life, the construct of life, is.
Yeah. And so these things take different form? In other words, we can look at it from it might have been a planetary collision or something else, calamity happening in our solar system that created the circumstances. But again, that's just the outcome of that's just how it looked to us from this, from our dimension, from our reality. But the purpose is still deeper and goes beyond that.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, exactly. That's a very good way of saying it. And the moon has a big role to play in all of this too. Big
Sure.
story about the moon. And as far as I'm concerned, it hasn't been here very long. My knowing is that it came, and I'm not absolute on this, but there are some things that I feel really, really absolute about. I'm not absolute on this, but I really feel strongly that the moon was placed here about 6,000 years ago.
That recently, huh?
Yeah, I do. And you'll see that there was quite a calamity that took place geologically around that time. And there's a lot of good reasons why it came around that time. And it's interesting that religions say that life started about 6,000 years ago. So there's no coincidence there.
Even the Masons, I think, Anno Lucius, they call it. It's about, I think their calendar is almost up to 6,000 years right now.
Yeah, and it has to do with the beings that put the moon there and the beings that live inside the moon, because it's definitely an artificial satellite. There's just no doubt about that. Yeah, really.
That is interesting. Yeah. Do you think that we will find these things out as well as we go here, as we proceed? There is now, other kinds of other nations have planning missions to the moon. There recently was photographs being taken on the backside of the moon and things like that. Do you think that we're in the age where more and more will become known, or how do you see this unfolding, George?
Yeah, the way I see it unfolding, Henrik, is that we will know for ourselves. So everything that I'm sharing here is my experiences and my wisdom that I've gained throughout these experiences. But there is only one great truth in the universe. And the definition of truth, or the one great truth, is it's just the way things are. And the notion that all truth is relative is a very dangerous notion, because small truths, I will say, are relative. But the fact that you and I, Henrik, have this aspect of our being incarnated here on this earth at this time, in this part of the universe, is true for you and me, is true for everybody in the universe. That is a universal fact. It is not an illusionary concept. It's real. We're here. This part of us is here. And so the concept that this is all just an illusion as well, that's dangerous too, because that just totally cheapens and devalues what's actually going on here on this planet. It's like this, just because you understand the way television works doesn't mean you're just going to sit there the whole time and go, all I'm seeing is electronic signals just being placed onto a screen and, go the old cathode ray, buy a gun at the back of the tube onto a phosphorus screen. And, do you sit there just thinking like that the whole time? No, you're actually going to sit back and enjoy the movie.
Sure.
And so just because we've discovered the construct of this reality through quantum physics doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean there's no value here for the experiences that we're coming here. It doesn't mean that we don't actually, this is all just a dream and illusion and there's nothing real about it at all. No, this is a reality. We've manifested this reality and we've come here for a reason. And there's good reasons for our existence here. So it's important not to fall into that trap because there are so many mind-bending philosophies out there that want to turn us against our existence here. They want to build that internal divide and that resentment towards actually your existence here. It's a very clever trap. So be careful of that. Now, going back to the events of what's going to transpire, my understanding of the events are that on December 21, 2012, there are openings that are actually going to close on that date. Now, these openings will start to happen towards the end of this year, probably around November. There'll be groups of people, small groups, that will start to walk through organic openings on the earth because this ascension process that I'm talking about is seeing it through with Mother Earth. You see, I've come onto Mother Earth. I'm here for a reason. People have come from all over the universe to be here. Why? Why did we come here? Did you come here just to be taken off by an ET? Did you come here just to walk through a Stargate? Well, for some people, they're going to do that, and they think that's the right path. But there's much greater purpose for our existence here, for this great woman to have gone through what she's gone through. So again, it's the devaluation of the divine feminine and what, and her very expression and existence is facilitating this very process here. So what's going to happen is these openings will start to occur, organic ones. And I'm not talking about technological stargates, portals, or anything like that. Mm-hmm. These are just I call them doorways. And the sacred geometry behind, or not behind, that you can use to define them in a mathematical construct is a vesica Pisces. And that's really what the fish of Christianity meant. It's not a male thing. It's actually a female thing. And because anybody who really knows what's going on here will tell you that it is the female that actually holds the power here, not the male. And all the baptizing into the baptismal waters and everything like that actually was done by Mary Magdalene and her 12 apostles or high priestesses. And that's another thing people have forgotten. And so everything that I share, the true knowledge is inside each and every one of us. So if you don't agree with what I'm saying now, that's fine, really, honestly, it is. But there is the truth inside each and every one of us, and that veil will lift very soon. And I'm getting emails from people all over the world, Henrik, honestly, that they are so resonating with what I'm saying because they know it for themselves, not because I said it. So when I communicate with people, it is really, I'm just providing triggers, and people are often running because, I'm not interested in followers or anything like that.
Sure.
It is just for people. I'm here to empower people to stand in their own right. And so we are human, we are sovereign beings, and we are here to go through this particular process, an organic process, not to be lured off-world by mind-bending philosophies and technologies. And so I'm going to see it through with Mother Earth. And these openings, it's the womb of the mother. And that's what the serpent rope is from South America. It's not a wormhole, as some people have interpreted. It's actually the umbilical cord coming from the center of the galaxy. And if I can explain that,
yeah.
when we incarnate into a reality, into any galactic reality, any one of them, what you do is your essence enters through the core of the galaxy, and you merge and you become one with that being, the consciousness that is that galaxy, which we all are galaxies out there too, by the way, and stars and planets. So you merge and you become one with that. So when we entered the Milky Way galaxy, we entered through the core of the galaxy, and we merged and we became one with the Milky Way, the consciousness that is this galaxy, hence the divine mother of the universe. Then when you go out, we branch out, and from the center of the galaxy, you go to your nominated star system. What you do then is you then enter through the core of that star, your essence does, and you merge and you become one with the being that is that star system. Because what you're doing is you're calibrating your essence into the vibrational pattern of the galaxy, and then you calibrate your essence into the vibrational pattern of the star system. And then from there, you go out to the planetary body you wish to incarnate onto. And then you enter through the core of the consciousness of that planet. That's what our essence does. And you merge and you calibrate your essence to the vibrational pattern of that planet. And then you go out into your incarnational embodiment. So that's the flow. That's the natural flow, the natural order of things. Hence in ancient Egypt, you have the Akhenaten and you have the energy coming from the sun and the hands coming from the sun. It's not worshipping the sun. It's actually understanding the sun. Mm-hmm. It's understanding the flow, the natural flow and order of energy. And so once we go through this process, I've actually lost my train of thought.
Well, I was a little bit interested in asking you a little bit about actually what happens. Well, I guess some of the effects, obviously, when some of these things begin to unfold, and there's two different levels to this. The first one is if the Earth axis, straightens up. And by the way, I was just came across this here today, that after the Chile earthquake here, not too long ago, that actually altered Earth's axis. It actually shortened the day. This was on something with 1.26 millionth of a second or something like that. But it still shows that this is actually something that is affected by earthquakes. And again, we don't know how much, or let's say we have a heck of a lot more earthquakes happening around that period of time or so as well, which means that it might actually significantly impact the Earth axis. But how do you think that this will unfold? Will this mean that the seasons on the Earth will disappear as well then, or what will happen?
Well, they're moving around so much. The seasons are moving around. I mean, our winters here in Australia, the coolness of spring goes right through up until the solstice. And we're only experiencing hot weather now through February, January, February, March, and it goes into April. And so it's like the seasons are shifting around, and the magnetic north's moving all over the place. And there's record temperatures in Siberia down to minus 75 degrees Celsius, which is just crazy. And so everything's changing. It'll just become more prevalent as time goes on, and then it'll get to like a tipping point where it'll start to happen fast. Because dare I just quote from the Bible, and I'm not a biblical person, but it's appropriate. Right to the very last days, they bought, they sold, they celebrated, they built, and it's going to be pretty similar. Although we're going to see a bit of a show in the public arena to do with what's the big show called Disclosure, which is really a joke as far as I'm concerned, and anybody else who knows, it's a joke, this disclosure concept, because ETs have always been a part of our life here on Earth. They've never not been a part of it. Yeah. So the concept of first contact and disclosure is just really a charade for the masses. So, things like that will occur between now and then. There'll be plenty to keep people occupied and distracted. But my recommendation is to try and remain connected with Mother Earth and centered within your own being. And don't let anyone tell you what to do. I can't tell you what to do. I'm just sharing with you how I see life, the processes that are coming, and the journey I wish to take. I want to stay with Big Mama, and I want to see it through with her. And I'm not going to get lured off by any of these other groups, and because I've been manipulated by them, and I can really go to town on that sort of stuff too. And they're not what they seem, Henrik. All these ETs that I've had a lot of experiences behind the scenes with our shadow governments and what have you, and these ETs that are in contact with our planet at the moment, they are absolutely not what they seem.
Well, I would reckon, obviously, to me, it's a kind of a no-brainer that if the deceitful people at the top, the establishment in that sense, if they were to unveil this in somewhere, in terms of disclosure of the aliens, that they would obviously use this to their own advantage to further their own agenda and to further try to enslave humanity in one way or another under this kind of banner. How that unfolds, I don't know, but I would be suspicious about that. But I guess if we zoom out a little bit again and talk about this potentially seasons disappearing, do you think that